Welcome into NFL Daily. I am Tom Downey. The franchise tag window has opened, so we're going to break down one franchise tag candidate for each NFL team, even though there are a lot of teams that aren't going to use the franchise tag. Here are the key dates to remember when it comes to the tag. Today, February 21st, the window opens to tag players. Now, in general, you're not going to see players get tagged until much closer, until the March 7th deadline. That is when the window closes to tag players. Then, in mid-July, July 15th, it is the deadline to sign an extension for those players, or they must play the 2023 season on the franchise tag, whatever that number is for their position group. Now, if you like these one for each team type of videos, I want to do more, but I want to make sure you guys enjoy those. So if you do, if you want more of these, show us you do. Like the video right now, so it's an easy data point. I can go, hey, bosses, see, the people like this. If you want more of them, like the video right now. We begin with the most obvious franchise tag candidate out there, Lamar Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens. There's an asterisk on this particular tag. $45 million is the current projected number for the exclusive franchise tag, meaning teams cannot make an offer sheet and give up 2 first-round picks to Ravens. No, it means only exclusive rights for negotiating for the Ravens. However, for the time being, until that number is finalized in terms of April, for the exclusive tenders, which will change because there will be adjustments made to the salaries of the highest paid guys, it will count as the non-exclusive tag cost, $32.4 million. My guess is that the exclusive tag number and the non-exclusive tag number, which is different, will be a little bit closer. Might be more along the lines of maybe $35, $36 million. So for now, it's going to count the 32.4. That number would go up if the Ravens cannot work out a long-term deal. It's still a little bit murky, though, as to what that number will actually end up being. So please do me a favor and keep that one in mind with where we currently sit. Now, Lamar's been an awesome football player, MVP on his resume, but there's been concerns about will they pay him, will they not pay him. So this is the pinned comment. It's one of the biggest NFL stories right now. What will the Ravens end up doing with Lamar this offseason? F for franchise tag him, T for trade him, or P for pay him? You can sound off for me right now in the comment section. Another potential tag for Jessie Bates would cost the Bengals almost $16 million. That's probably on the high end of what they want to do and are willing to do, and they also didn't want to give a bunch of guaranteed money, which was a bit of a mistake on that front. So I think he ends up hitting the open market. Let's move to the Browns. Anthony Walker, $21 million. Yes. The NFL's dumb. They do not designate the difference between off-ball linebacker and your 3-4 outside edge-rushing linebacker like a Von Miller, for example. So that linebacker number is more of a pass rusher number. Could be Deion Jones, Anthony Walker. The Browns are not going to use their franchise tag this year. Cameron Sutton of the Steelers is their best candidate. It'd be $18.14 million. That's probably more money than what the Steelers want to pay a corner. Even though I like Sutton, I think marketing gets a decent amount less than that. The Cowboys have really two main candidates. Tony Pollard, $10.09 million. A second tag for Dalton Schultz would cost over $13 million. I think Pollard makes more sense. Even coming off of the unfortunate leg injury, had the tightrope ankle procedure. The fractured leg's going to heal on his own. He should be fine well before training camp. Zeke's not going to be back at his current number. I would bet the Cowboys franchise tag Pollard if they can't work out a longer-term deal. Philadelphia's got a bunch of candidates. Javon Hargrave would cost about $19 million, probably more than they want to pay him. James Bradbury would cost that $18 million that we mentioned for Cam Sutton. Reports saying Chauncey Gardner-Johnson might be the Eagles' preferred tag candidate, so we'll go with him. It is just under the $14.5 million price tag for Gardner-Johnson this year. Eagles, I think, are going to try to get long-term deal done because that helps make it easier from the salary cap short-term perspective. Keep an eye on what Philly ends up doing. Daron Payne, $18.94. Again, that's the interior defensive line number. It gets a little bit dicey in terms of Ed, D-E, D-T, but he's a true defensive tackle there. He could get $20 million a year on the open market. If I were the Commanders, I would tag him. But the problem they're going to run into is, are you going to pay Jonathan Allen big bucks, Daron Payne, and then maybe Chase Young too? It's a lot of money for your upfront investment there. Now, will your favorite team use the franchise tag this year? Transition tag counts, but we're showing franchise tag numbers since that one isn't used all that often. Bonus points if you mention who your favorite team is when you type Y for yes or N for no. Ooh, the Giants are in a tough spot here. Saquon Barkley, an obvious candidate, same as Tony Pollard's cost, $10.09 million. But Daniel Jones is the quarterback. He's a little bit important in terms of what that team wants to do. So I'll go Jones attacking. He has a new agent. Giants want to get one of those guys locked up before free agency. But the other one who doesn't get tagged has no incentive to sit around and wait because it's the open market for him at that point. Today's show is sponsored by Cultivate, the free browser extension that brings transparency to your Amazon shopping experience. Cultivate shows you the brand, seller, or product origin and identifies local alternatives that support local community efforts while saving you money. With over 50% of Amazon U.S. sellers based in China, Cultivate offers a way to avoid trickery from those sellers and keep money in the U.S. economy. Cultivate offers alternatives that are on average 30% less expensive than Amazon without any additional costs such as Amazon Prime. It can even identify local alternatives you can pick up the same day. Cultivate users earn free donations as rewards for using the extension, and the more you use it, the more you earn in donations by increasing your level. In fact, Cultivate donates 51% of the revenue that they make on your purchase. So what are you waiting for? Go to wecultivate.us/chatsports and download Cultivate for free. Let Cultivate bring transparency, savings, and community support to your Amazon shopping journey. Support the show and download with our link. It's in the comment section and description of today's video. It's wecultivate.us/chatsports. Let's move to Geno Smith, the other big-name quarterback franchise tag candidate, right? $32.42 million there. Breakout year for Geno. Seattle could use the tag as more of a placeholder to get a long-term deal done because you're not going to hit the market as good as he was last year. Let's say you're starting a new franchise, or both guys hit free agency somehow. If you had to pick one to be your starter, who would it be? Not an easy question, is it? DJ for Daniel Jones, GS for Geno Smith. Vote for me in the comment section. We'll go quicker on names who aren't going to get tagged. That's Zach Allen. Good, had a nice year for Arizona, but not at $19.73 million worth. Matt Gay, the Rams kicker. Yeah, kickers can be tagged. The Rams don't have many viable options. It would cost them $5.4 million to tag Matt Gay. Mike McGlinchey, $18.24. I know some Niners fans don't like him. I would not be shocked if the Niners do not tag him. It's the open market, and he might approach that number on a per-year basis because teams are desperate for starting caliber offensive linemen. Kaleb McGary had a breakout year for Atlanta, by the way, 18.24, same number there. Bit on the high side, but the Falcons have plenty of money to spend. Panthers, they're not going to tag Deonta Foreman. How about the kicker? Eddy Pineiro was pretty solid overall for Carolina this year. It's the same cost as Matt Gay, $5.39 million. The Saints have no real candidates. I will make note of Marcus Davenport. David Onamana also falls in this category. Ineligible. With what the Saints did with the contract for Marcus Davenport this year, he has a void year that does not void until after the free agency or the franchise tag window closes, so he cannot be tagged. That was an intentional move by the Saints. He will become a free agent, even though he probably would have been their top tag candidate despite poor sack production this year. Jamel Dean of the Bucs. This one might make a bit more sense than Cam Sutton as a tag candidate, but Tampa's up against the salary cap number already. They don't want to invest that amount of cap hit in 1 year for a corner. They prefer a longer-term deal there. I would be shocked if David Montgomery got tagged by the Bears at over $10 million. He might hit the open market. Maybe a good transition tag candidate there. That's more like 8.4-ish million bucks, but he's the most obvious option for Chicago. Same with Jamaal Williams, the touchdown machine, or maybe Vulture if you have DeAndre Swift in fantasy. $10.09 million. It's too much to pay for a good but not premier running back in Williams and or Montgomery. Now, if you want more NFL news and rumors videos, then subscribe. We got free videos for you every single day. We're live on Monday, live on Wednesdays as well. Don't miss out. Free agency draft coverage, we got you covered right here. Not many great options for Green Bay here. Robert Tonyan, $11.35 million. That's not the worst amount, but I think it's higher than what Green Bay would want to pay. So, honestly, the NFC North, I bet 0 franchise tags get used because Garrett Bradbury had a breakout year. The problem is the offensive line franchise tag number is the same across the board. It does not change, actually. So, you're paying a center $18 million. That's too much money. Tremaine Edmonds did not get the 5th-year option picked up. Bills have some regrets. A breakout year for him, but at $21 million, that would be the highest paid linebacker in the NFL history for a per-year basis. That's just off-ball linebacker, I should say. It's not going to happen for Tremaine Edmonds, nor for a Landon Roberts or maybe Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson. It's just too much money for those teams. The Patriots, I don't hate the idea of tagging Jonathan Jones, but 18.14 is a lot of money and more than what J.C. Jackson got per year. So I think the talented corner hits the open market this year. 3 linebackers here. Quince Williams had his best year ever, but again, the Jets are not going to pay $20.93 million for him. Draymond Jones, I think will get a surprisingly large contract, but because he's labeled as a 3-4 defensive end, he gets the defensive end cap number, which is 19.73, and that's too much for him, although he could easily command 10 to 15 once he hits the open market. Orlando Brown's second franchise tag would cost $19.94 million. That's not that bad of a figure for a starting caliber left tackle. I bet he gets the tag again, and maybe KC gets a long-term deal done when it's all said and done. Josh Jacobs, next up here. This is an obvious tag candidate. The Raiders running back, $10.09 million. He said he doesn't want to play on the franchise tag unless the Raiders get a bunch of new pieces around him because he wants to be paid if he's going to be the guy again, which he was last year. Massive workload. You want that guaranteed money at running back because you have a very short shelf life, unfortunately. He would play on the tag, though, because he's not going to pass up $10 million. That's not a good decision for any NFL player to do, at least at the running back spot. Take the money at that point. They will try to work out a long-term deal, but I think at worst case, he's getting tagged. Now, there's a really great group of free agent running backs this year, several of whom might get tagged. Barkley, Jacobs, Tony Pollard. Of the grouping, who is the best free agent running back in this year's class? Let me know in the comment section. I like the player in Drew Tranquill, but it's the linebacker issue. You're not paying him $20.93 million. That is just too much investment to make at the linebacker spot. Jordan Akins, the Texans tight end, $11.35 million, had a quality year, but not that level of investment worthy. Yannick Ngakoue, the defensive end from Indy, who I think would be best as kind of a situational pass rusher to maximize those numbers. He'll get a good contract, but not almost $20 million worth. So no tag there. Maybe a tag, though, for Evan Ingram, who got $11.35 million tag projection. Here's all the officially announced numbers, I should say. Ingram looked like a different dude this year. More productive, not as many drops. Maybe a long-term deal gets worked out. That's a tougher decision, one of the more toss-ups in this year's class. And finally, David Long. Awesome year for Tennessee at linebacker, but you can't pay him $21 million on the franchise tag.